Okay, now I'd like to talk to you about the discover skill and also combine it with the idea of value, because we do things with the discover. We discover things, we explore in the service of what we care about, value. And we need to start by blowing up another one of these major myths. And this is related to how we often feel exhausted and tired during the day, during our life. And we're often trying to find the energy to do things that we care about and value. The most common complaint I hear from people is that they're too tired or they don't have time to do the things they care about. So I want to talk about that. And let's talk about energy, because this is what people think they need. They need more. I need more energy. I don't have enough energy to do the things I care about. So there are a couple of metaphors for energy. And one is like a gas tank metaphor. And this metaphor is like, goes so something like this. You use up your energy, you get tired and exhausted, and you have to rest in order to fill up the tank again. So it's like an emptying of the tank metaphor. So with this metaphor, you would kind of stay inside, wait till you get enough energy, then you can go out and do the things you care about. What if this metaphor is completely wrong? That energy isn't something like a tank where we use up all of our fuel and then we have to wait to refuel. So let me give you a very different metaphor. What if instead of being like a petrol tank, we are more like a windmill? So if you think about how a windmill gets its energy, it's not by preserving itself in a room, it's by interacting with the energy in the universe, in this case, the wind. So that energy comes not from, kind of trying to save energy and preserve yourself, but actually by connecting with the energy that's in the universe, like a windmill. So if you put a windmill in a room and you close off everything, you make the room totally safe and airtight, the windmill has no energy. But if you put it outside in the world, you actually generate energy. And so this, I think, is the more accurate understanding of how we have energy. It's paradoxically not about saving up for it. It's about connecting and finding it in the world through your actions, through your doing skills and discovery skills. So let's talk about that now. How do we do this? How do we engage in the world in a way that we can expand and make our world bigger and better, meet new people, develop our skills? That's where you're going to get your energy from. So discover actually sounds like it would be a lot of fun, but it's actually quite a challenge, because discover often involves doing something new that you don't normally do and not knowing what the outcome is going to be. So just think about something new you want to do in your life, but you're not sure you can do it. And maybe there's only one way to find out if you can do it or not, and that's to give it a go. And maybe you fail and maybe you succeed. And so just imagine this process of leaving your comfort zone is going to be distressing. You know what your advisor is going to be saying? Don't do it. You don't know what's going to happen. It's unsafe. But the discover is a way of saying, you know what? I'm going to take you with me, advisor, and we're going to try this new thing. So just to give some examples, like if you've been in relationship after relationship that hasn't worked, then your advisor is going to predict no new relationships ever going to work. But your discover is going to allow you to say, you know what? I hear you, advisor. I know that I've never found my soulmate yet, but I'm going to give it a try again. I'm going to embrace that feeling of vulnerability, and I'm going to be willing to feel distress in order to try again. And that's what discover lets you do. It lets you kind of take the advisor along for the ride, and it puts the advisor in more of a secondary role. It's not in charge of your life. It's just something that comes along with you. So the discover is a way to do trial and error and make your life bigger and better. So let's see, how do we get ourselves out of this comfort zone? So it might be taking a new university course, or it might be meeting an old friend again and you're really nervous about it. You haven't seen him for ages. But a lot of times discovery means willingness to feel distress. And this is going to be an important flipping of the script. The script is this: if you feel distress, you're taught by your society that you want to pull that distress down and lower it, and you don't want to feel stress or discomfort. And what we actually find is that it's very difficult to remove distress. If you look at this picture here, for example, you see you have a comfort zone over here, and you have the discomfort zone where you're doing something new. Now, you could stay in your comfort zone all the time because you don't want to feel distress, right? But here's the downside of that. You're still going to feel disappointment. If you stay in that room and you don't go out and try something new and expand your life, you're still going to feel lonely. You're still going to feel sad and anxious. But if you leave the room, if you leave your comfort zone and go out into the big world, well, maybe you'll fail. Maybe people will be unpredictable or let you down. So wait a minute. What we're saying is, if you stay, you're going to feel distress. And if you go into your discomfort zone, you're going to feel distress. So it's almost like distress is a constant thing. So what if you're just going to have a certain amount of distress in your life? What if instead of just being a passive victim to stress, you could flip the script and choose when you feel the distress? Choose when you're willing to go out of your comfort zone because it's important to you. So this is what Discover is about. It's about saying, yes, I'm willing to feel distress in order to try and find love again. Yes, I'm willing to feel distress in order to improve my education. Yes, I'm willing to feel distress in order to try this new exercise routine. So anything new is going to have that distress. And here's how the script is being flipped. Instead of you saying, oh, I got to avoid distress, I've got to try and reduce it. Now you're willingly accepting it into your life. Not all the time, not for just anything, but for the things that you find important. You're saying, yes, I'm willing to do this because this person's important to me. So the first thing to understand about Discover is it's a choice, and the key choice is around willingness. Are you willing to feel distress in order to do something you value? Now, there are ways to make this willingness move easier, to make that discovery process easier. Well, one way to do it is to make sure it's connected to something you care about. If it's like we put up with all kinds of distress for things we don't care about, unimportant things. We say, I'm feeling all this distress. I don't even want to hang out with this person. So you have distress tolerance. What I'm saying is start to choose when you're going to be having your distress a bit more. Be willing to have it in the service of things that you care about. Sometimes you're going to say, you know what, I'm not willing to have distress to do that because I don't care. So for me, that was like playing competition tennis. It was extremely stressful to me. I was going to the bathroom like 20 times before I played. And that's how I handle my stress. And after a while, I thought, you know what, I can just play casual with my friends. That's enough. I'm not willing to feel this distress because it's not important enough to me. But we do know this, that people who are happy, who have well-being, do tend to say yes to willingness for a number of things. So you've got to find what you're willing to say yes to. And that's the first important aspect of the Discover is, are you willing to say yes or no? And here's the second important thing, a second aspect to your choice. And this is that the willingness jump, you can think of it as a jump, it doesn't have to be huge. So you're saying yes to something new, but it could be really, really small. Like for me, if I haven't exercised for a while, it might be just exercising for 20 minutes. It doesn't have to be preparing for the Boston Marathon. So the key is to find something you care about that you're willing to say yes to. And the second thing is you choose the size of the jump. It can be a really huge thing, like, quitting your job and starting a whole new career. Or it could be something really small, like maybe finding a way to make your job more compatible with your values. And you choose. So this is the big thing about Discover, is you flip the script. Instead of trying to avoid distress and that being the sole purpose of your life, you can imagine on your gravestone it says, here lies Joseph. He finally managed to find a way to be stress-free. You don't want that on your tombstone. You want your tombstone to say something cool, like, here lies Joseph. He really went for things and was courageous. And so willingness is about your choice to choose what you care about, what are you willing to feel distress for. And it can be something really small or something big. You choose.